Hello and welcome to another standard video here on the official MTG Arena channel. Today I'm playing in the preview event for Tarkir Dragonstorm, and we're playing a deck that's befitting the name in this Jeskai Dragons build. We've got a lot of dragons and dragon synergies, including at 2 mana Sarkhan Dragon Ascendant, a 2 mana 2/2. When it enters we can behold a dragon, which means we reveal a dragon from our hand or we have one in play. If we do, we get to make a treasure token, and then whenever a dragon we control enters, we can put a +1 counter on Sarkhan, and until end of turn it becomes a dragon in addition to its other types and also gains flying. So very nice 2-drop for a deck that wants to ramp into some 4 and 5 mana dragons. Then we've got the other Sarkhan, Soul of Flame, a 2/4, giving our dragons a 1 mana discount, and whenever a dragon we control enters, we can have Sarkhan become a copy of that creature, and it's no longer legendary should we play a legendary dragon. So that's also a very powerful ability, especially when combined with the Twin Flame Tyrant from Magic Foundations, a 3/5 flying dragon, saying if a source we control would deal damage to an opponent or a permanent an opponent controls, it deals double that damage instead. So if we can curve Sarkhan into a Twin Flame Tyrant, we will temporarily control 2 Twin Flame Tyrants, so we can quadruple all our damage output, which can deal a ton of damage, especially if we curved into an earlier Sarkhan as well. And then we're also playing with a new Magmatic Hellkite, a 4 mana 4/5 flyer. When it enters, destroy target non-basic land an opponent controls. They get to search up a basic land, but it enters tapped with a stun counter on it. So the opponent won't be able to untap that land for a turn, which is a pretty nice upgrade over your typical non-basic land destruction that you might see. Plus we still get a 4 mana 4/5 flying dragon, which is perfect for this deck as we could already cast it on turn 3 thanks to our Dragon Ascendant. And then we've got a few more dragon synergies. The new Mox Jasper makes a mana of any color if we control a dragon, so it won't be active until the mid to late game, but is still a nice mana boost to maybe help us double spell a Burst Lightning, dealing 2 to a creature unless we played kicked for 4 damage. And then there's also the Invasion of Tarkir, which is exceptionally powerful here, as we can reveal dragons from our hand as we play it to deal additional damage. And if we transform the battle, which is not too difficult with our flying dragons and our burn spells, the Defiant Thundermaw can also be very powerful, dealing 2 damage to any target whenever any dragon we control attacks, so that can trigger multiple times in a single attack step, and also benefits tremendously from a Twin Flame Tyrant on the battlefield. And then we've got 2 copies of the Iron Crag as another 2 mana ramp card. Can occasionally transform it into an equipment if we play a legend. And then there's Shivan Devastator, which is just a cheap flying hasty dragon that we can sink any additional mana into. Also benefits from the discount from Sarkhan, as we can sometimes play it for X equals essentially 0, but still will enter as a 1/1 thanks to that 1 mana discount if we just need a cheap dragon to enable some of our other cards. And then the Phyrexian Dragon Engine doesn't have flying, but still a 2/2 double strike that can also be unearthed out of the graveyard to maybe refuel our hand. And then the reason we're splashing white is for Zergon Ojutai, which is also quite good with our Sarkhan Soul of Flame, as it removes the legendary type on Sarkhan, so we can be attacking with 2 copies of Zergon Ojutai to maybe find additional cards with the ability, and it also helps us play around sweeper effects, since we can always decide to pick up our dragon after dealing damage to the opponent, or maybe a battle, so we can also still pick it up if we transform our Invasion of Tarkir with the attack step. And then our mana base gets access to Cavern of Souls to make our dragons uncounterable. Occasionally we'll need to name humans so we can play our Sarkhan early. And then a Fabled Passage can get our one-off plains or island for mana fixing. Otherwise plenty of mountains to enable the River Power Verge as well. Shivan Reef has another blue-red dual. And then I'm also trying 1 Maelstrom of the Spirit Dragon, which can also be a land we sacrifice later in the game to find additional dragons if we're maybe flooding out a bit. So yeah, that's our deck. Now let's jump into some games and see how the deck does. Okay, we're on the play with what looks like a keepable hand. Turn 1 could keep a Burst Lightning. Probably just gonna fetch with Fabled Passage to get that out of the way. And then could just get Mountain, or we could get our Plains for Zergo. And this still makes red, this makes blue. Any reason to run out the Invasion now already? Just to maybe transform it sooner? I think we just keep up Burst Lightning. Alright, we are up against a Beanstalk deck. So the late game is not going to favor us necessarily. For now, play Sarkhan. Cavern might still want to name Dragon, so I'll take the 1 damage here. And then Jeskai still works with Sarkhan, since it takes away the legendary status. Thran Spider could maybe chump. So this might be an Ugin ramp deck, which makes sense. Could play the Invasion to deal 4 to the Spider by revealing 2 dragons. In fact, can even reveal 3. And then, I guess with the Power Stone I could potentially cast the Dragon Engine as well. So then, I guess with the Burst Lightning I could transform the Invasion. So there's a lot happening here, but yeah, I think we're happy to try that line. So play Invasion, deal with the Spider. Play the Dragon Engine. Sarkhan transforms into the Dragon Engine, so it can deal 4 damage to the Invasion, and then we can transform it at instant speed with the Burst Lightning. Another Beanstalk for now. And the Lanor Elves still prefer transforming the Invasion, since the Thunder Maw can also deal tons of damage. And then I'll decline for now. But now a Jeskai looks good too. Take action. And smash. Could still play, I guess, a Devastator for X equals 1 thanks to the discount, which was probably worth it. Although we might also draw some useful cards with Jeskai. But this might just be a lethal attack. So yeah, that was impressive. Find maybe another Sarkhan. And then don't need to return anything. And find a Twin Flame. And again, probably gonna decline. And then we still had 12 damage happening here. So more than enough. Sweet, on to the next one. Okay, we're on the play. We have what looks like a functional hand. Just need to hit some more line drops. And then Sarkhan makes a treasure, sets up our second Sarkhan, and then Twin Flame Tyrant is kind of the dream. So no land yet. I think we still name Dragon, although could also name Human, so we can pay the blue from Sarkhan. Yeah, it's actually close. Maybe I should go Human. And then reveal Magmatic Hellkite. We're more likely to draw another red source than we are a blue source, but we found Shivan Reef. So, could play the Magmatic Hellkite to lock down the Hushwood Verge, which is certainly reasonable, although I think we just curve into second Sarkhan, and then maybe set up our Twin Flame next turn. Possible they have something to exile an attacking creature here, or a tapped creature. Nope, just 2 damage. And an Armadillo discarded to gain 3, get a basic. So they might be on some sort of Cascade deck, or a deck that wants to avoid playing cheap cards, so they can maybe find some more exciting cards later. For now, Furnace, another one of those cards that has a combined mana value of 7. So let's see here. Could just run back another Sarkhan, which is probably the play. Hit for 2. There's a new dragons with the omens that can also deal damage to my creatures, but for now just another furnace. And we did find a land. Okay, so now I could cast a Twin Flame, which is probably worthwhile. And then Sarkhan would get a counter, hit for 6. And then our flying creatures might be a little more challenging for the opponent to destroy if they are playing the new dragon that deals 5 to a non-flying creature. And then probably go for, let's see. Yeah, might want to get just a mountain, since this one is not naming dragon. And smash. Okay, so next turn, by playing a dragon, we can grow Sarkhan once again. And then we would have 14 in the air. Opponent passes with mana up. Well, could just play the Hellkite now, or we could double spell Dragon Engine and Invasion, but I kind of want to keep a land lockdown, since there's a chance our opponent is on a Carnosaur combo deck, and then they could go off on 6 mana, but then we might see them discard the Carnosaur to take out Sarkhan instead, but that's okay. So, we'll see what happens here. Lock down the Verge. So our opponent gets to replace it with a tapped basic. And Altena gets a land back. Alright, so they could still combo me if they have Carnosaur next turn, perhaps. But they had another Armadillo to gain 3. So they've gained 9 life this game. Let's see what happens. Could also be an Invasion of Alara, yep. Another kind of cascade card, if you will. But it's not going to instantly win the game, necessarily, even though they get to cascade into Fetch Quest from Bramble Familiar. And then a Breaching Dragonstorm also randomly finds something, and that's going to hit a Carnosaur. Alright, so they were a Carnosaur deck after all. And then now is Stormscale Scion. Yeah, that's pretty good. Their storm count is very high, so our opponent gets to make 1,000,000 dragons. And yeah, let's see here. If a source you control would deal damage to an opponent or a permanent an opponent controls, it deals double the damage. This can go face, and I have a dragon in hand, so that should be 6 damage to close it out here. But yeah, still impressive from our opponent. On to the next one. Okay, we're on the draw. Our hand seems fine. A little slow perhaps, since we're not doing a whole lot until turn 5. But we can get our white mana sorted. Now, we don't even have to, since we have Cavern. But I'm still gonna play Fabled Passage first, up against a green deck. So we'll see if we can take out a creature here. Might still want to get planes on the off chance that our opponent has their own land destruction and goes after the Cavern. Since Hellkite is now a thing in this format. So Invasion can deal 5 damage here. Or I could save it as creature removal, although I kind of want to curve Devastator into Hellkite. So I think I'm down to just play this now. In fact, it's 6 damage. We have 4 dragons in hand. So it seems like a waste to take out a creature with it at this point. Our opponent does pretty much see our entire hand. That's the drawback. And then it's probably going to be worth it to try and transform the invasion, since the Thunder Maw plays quite well with the Twin Flame. Our opponent ramping with a World Wagon would not have been able to take that out with an invasion. Also lots of basics, so far no targets for the Hellkite, although opponents might be playing around that intentionally now. Alright, let's go ahead and play a Devastator for 2. Attack the invasion. And there's blue mana in there too. And the Regent can gain life and stabilize the air. But our opponent's gonna opt to get an extra land instead. Well, we are pretty far behind now. No non-basics for the Hellkites. Sarkhan a little late to the party, so I can still only deal 2 damage. Won't be able to transform the invasion. So may as well play the Hellkite now. And then next turn we'll have to see if we try the Twin Flame. Opponent's got a Dragonback Assault, dealing 3 to each creature. And our opponent's now making dragon tokens as well with Landfall. So the World Wagon can make another dragon here. So this game seems pretty over. Things didn't quite line up the way we wanted to. And we were a little slow out of the gates. So Twin Flame can potentially hold off a 4/4. So that's maybe still my best play, since Zergo just trades. And now an encroaching Dragonstorm gets 2 more lands, makes 2 more dragons. Gaining life with the Regent. I'm not playing it in today's build, but I did play Pyroclasm in this deck before, and you can double its damage with your Twin Flame Tyrants, so that would be a pretty nice solution to this board, dealing with all the 4/4 flyers, and definitely a card you can consider in this deck if you want a better matchup against go-white decks. And finish that one off, but we're still at 6. As we draw another Sarkhan, so there's not much I can do here. Alright, GG's. All-out attack, and still take 1,000,000 damage. On to the next one. Okay, we're on the play with a functional hand. Could use one of our Sarkhans, of course, but at least we've got some early removal. We'll eventually need white for Jeskai, facing another blue-red deck. Don't think I want to play the invasion just to deal 4 damage. Alright, so it's a bit of a waiting game. Still gonna hang on to the invasion, I think. And a frontline rush, so our opponent on a Jeskai tokens deck. Could Burst Lightning to prevent him from convoking. But we'll wait and see for now. Take 2. Alright, I'll take my turn, I think. Find another invasion. So now I could invasion, go upstairs, and then the second invasion plus burst lightning can maybe transform it. Feels like a waste to deal 4 to a goblin token here. Could also try and play the Twin Flame in the meantime. But I think we just want to be mana efficient. A third dragon would have been nice here, so we could immediately transform the battle. Opponent making more tokens, so they're up to 4 now. That's starting to get scary. If they have any way of pumping them up, especially. For now, a Dragon Hunt. This card's a land. And another one. So they had some creature removal, but weren't really able to use it yet. Found Sarkhan, so now I like double spelling Sarkhan, keep up Burst Lightning. And then with Twin Flame we can transform Sarkhan next turn and do some fun things. Have to be careful blocking a Goblin, since 3 more damage could finish off our 2-4. So I'll probably have to take it. And of course another copy of Frontline Rush would be good too. Could of course Burst Lightning the creature they target, but then I'm not transforming the Thundermaw, which seems more important. So I'll take 4. And opponent's got a Paragon of the Way. 4/5 Flying Vigilance, yeah, that's gonna get in the way. Get back a spell for free. So would have been able to finish off Sarkhan. Now makes 2 more 1/1s. Now we're still in decent shape, I think, since we get to make a Thundermaw. Doesn't matter if we transform Sarkhan here or not. Find another invasion, doesn't seem to affect anything. I can play the Twin Flame, Sarkhan transforms into another copy, and then if we attack, every Thundermaw trigger now deals 2x2x2, 8 damage, as long as we target our opponent or a permanent the opponent controls. Does not deal more damage to the battle, so we can't transform that one quite as easily. But yeah, we should easily be able to clear their only flying blocker, and then 14 times 2 is 28 damage coming across here is going to be more than enough. And yeah, I suppose 1 trigger on their dragon would be more than enough, since they are dealing 8 damage each. And there we have it. Awesome. On to the next one. Okay, we're on the play. We have Fabled Passage, get Mountain. Cavern can potentially name Human, the other names Dragon. Yeah, it's fine. We can make it work. And then a curve of Sarkhan into Hellkite is most likely what we're going for. Can invasion on 2 if needed. And then Cavern also fixes for white should we draw Zergonojetai. Opponent playing red-white. There are quite a few new tools for red-white token decks, among others. For now, I guess we found Sarkhan. Behold our Hellkite. Could have also shown them the Dragon Engine, I suppose. Still tempted to play Sarkhan first, even though it might get removed. I see, so maybe a Mardu mobilized deck, making lots of tokens. So then presenting multiple blockers, or at least a blocker in the form of Hellkite to get in front of the voice, could be worth it, whereas Sarkhan does not trade off for it. I guess the Dragon Engine's also an option, since that can block the voice profitably. So I could go Dragon Engine attack with Sarkhan. And then next turn with 5 mana we could go Sarkhan plus Invasion. Yeah, maybe that's the play. They might also have the new Goblin token maker at instant speed that can either make 2/1/1 tokens or pump up a creature equal to the number of creatures you control. So then the Dragon Engine would not be able to eat the Voice of Victory quite as easily. We'll see. Alright, opponent's just going to main phase, make 2/1/1s. Attack. So I guess I could still have like a monstrous rage, but then we would still be able to trade. So yeah, not sure what this is, but I'm down to block. But yeah, they could have just attacked and then used the second mode potentially, giving +3/+3. They had a Torch the Tower, finish off Sarkhan, but we do get to eat the Voice of Victory at least. Alright, so that worked out. And then now we could go Sarkhan plus Invasion, take out a token, attack the Invasion for 4, get closer to transforming it. Or I could hold the Invasion in case another Voice of Victory or some other creature shows up. Close call. Kinda do want to make use of my treasure, since we know we'll have 5 mana next turn, so I think double spelling is okay. And then just another mountain seems appropriate. No need to reveal since we're taking out a token, but I guess they knew about the Hellkite already. And then tank the Invasion. Possible they'll chump since they're afraid of me transforming it. Now if we top deck another burn spell, we can maybe transform it at instant speed as well. And Hellkite can help Sarkhan finish it off as well. Opponent is playing with Zurgo. Makes sense. And drew another Sarkhan, so we can double spell here after all. This one's naming Human. This one names Dragon, so we have white for Zurgo no Jeskai. Can also behold the dragon that's in play. And we'll eliminate their white source. Opponent probably has a plains they can search up, but it will be tapped. Pretty important to have a couple basics in the standard format. We'll take action. And then I'm okay trading the Dragon Engine for Zurgo, since we will be able to later unearth it as well. Invasion transforms. So yeah, opponent's gonna need some serious answers here. Sarkhan already up to a 4/4. And next turn we're attacking with 3 dragons, so that's 3 Thundermaw triggers. Zurgo gets busy. So just need to maybe watch out for, like, I don't know, a Brotherhood's End dealing 3 to everything. So we can maybe block accordingly. Is there anything that would maybe give all the opponent's creatures Death Touch? I don't think such a card exists, or at least isn't in Standard. So maybe something along these lines is safe enough. I'll try this. Don't want to put the Thundermaw in harm's way if I can help it. Torch the Tower, the Dragon Engine, so that will be exiled for good. And no unearthing it. But we get to untap, and this should just be game over. Can also kick Burst Lightning for 4 more damage. Alright, so that was a powerful curve out, thanks to Sarkhan. Alright, so we got to see our Jeskai Dragon deck in action. And yeah, the deck definitely impressed. The new Sarkhan slots in perfectly. Didn't get to see the Mox Jasper in action, but seems like a nice way to help us double spell kind of in the mid to late game, where we want to quickly empty out our hands to enable Sarkhan as much as possible. So yeah, overall, definitely a decent archetype to try out in the upcoming standard. There's still a lot of ways you can configure this archetype, and there's other colors you can slot in addition to maybe blue-red. But yeah, that's going to do it for today's gameplay. Want to thank you for watching, hope you enjoyed, and as always, have a nice day.